Got it. We about to record.
Let that pull out.
All right, perfect. Hello and welcome to another week of the Lost Confederacy channel. This is week 2 of the 13-week fiscal program of recovery for American prisoners of war. Today we have myself, Chief Biko, as well as Chief Alligator and Chief Quietwater. And here, as always, we focus more so on that first letter in the acronym APOW, which is American. Again, we'll start off with continuing to reiterate that this system is infiltrated with militia. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen and continue to drive this point home.
Morning, the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism is out with an in-depth analysis of a leaked Oath Keepers membership list from a year ago, which finds there were hundreds of names on it of current or former elected officials, law enforcement officers, and members of the military. The Oath Keepers are a far-right militia group, multiple members of which stormed the United States Capitol during the insurrection and that attack on January 6th. For more on this new report, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, joins us now. Jonathan, thanks for being with us. So take us through the report that you all did, how you got your hands on the list, and what were some of the more troubling aspects of what you found?
Sure. Thank you for having me this morning, Willie. And I will tell you, this is a chilling report, the likes of which we've never released before. Last September, ADL analysts were able to get our hands on a data leak of the Oath Keepers membership rolls. There were 38,000 names that were essentially pulled from their records and put out in the open. Our analysts pulled down the information before the Oath Keepers could pull it back. We used open source techniques, including public records, social media, and other methods to review every single name that we found. And I must say, we thought the Oath Keepers were a threat when they rampaged through the Capitol on January the 6th, but we had no idea just how deep the threat truly is. We found hundreds of active law enforcement members who are part of the Oath Keepers, 10 chiefs of police, 11 sheriffs, dozens and dozens of active members of the US military, some 80 individuals who were running for public office, almost 24 of whom made it through the primaries and will be up this fall. And look, you might not know all of these names. Many people might know Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers, who still, months after the terror attack at the Capitol, proudly proclaimed that she was an Oath Keeper and supported the group. But I'm talking about a county commissioner in Nevada, a town justice in New York, a firearms instructor in Pittsburgh, a pastor in North Carolina, and it goes on and on and on. These are individuals with access and influence. These are individuals with resources and training. And these are individuals who have shown us they are willing to commit acts of sedition and violence against the US government.
Jonathan, are you surprised at the extent of the membership of the Oath Keepers and other far-right groups who apparently, or maybe they do know, that the underpinnings of the philosophy of these groups are rooted in race and religion? In other words, they're against anybody who isn't white. And Jewish people obviously have a target on their backs based upon their philosophies. Does this surprise you at all that their membership is so diverse in a sense?
It somewhat does. I mean, look, right-wing extremism is the spectrum. We know that, Mike. And so there are white supremacists, there are sovereign citizens, and indeed, there are these armed militia groups. We know organizations like the Proud Boys, Tario, the head of it, is Hispanic. And indeed, there is some diversity among the Oath Keepers. But I think what's more frightening is the fact that they, for a long time, have prioritized recruiting active and retired law enforcement and military. We thought, Mike, they weren't being successful. We were wrong. We have a problem with an enemy inside our own ranks who has committed, as the Oath Keepers do, to uphold a higher oath, not to have fidelity to our commander-in-chief or necessarily to the jurisdictions where they work, but to their notion of the Constitution and a holy obligation that, again, puts minorities, puts Democrats, and puts ordinary citizens in their crosshairs.
CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, thank you very much for coming.
All right. So again, as stated earlier, just going to keep reiterating that point, dropping that point home for the viewer, for our group of people, that again, this system is infiltrated, and this is only one militia group that they were able to get their hands on as far as that leaked information. But again, 38,000 members there. Next, we'll go ahead and have Chief Quietwater with this week's inventor.
Okay, so the inventor this week is going to be John W. West. I really didn't find a lot of information on him in regards to when he was born, where he was born. I do know that he lived in Iowa during the time that he actually invented his invention, which was the running gear for wagons. And basically it was an improvement to the wagon. The patent number is 108419, and the patent date is October 18th, 1870. And basically what it is, it's a mechanism that goes on the bottom of a wagon or carriage, and it's designed to suspend the box or the body of the wagon of any kind or any kind of carriage in a manner that the pressure of the load or weight of whatever is on the wagon is concentrated, so it is pressed forward to assist with propelling the wagon forward, basically. So it's made so that the weight of everything on the wagon is toward the front, so that it helps with the propelling and the moving forward of the wagon. And again, that's John W. West. And like I said, I didn't find a lot of information on him per se in regards to his personal life.
Now, great inventor for this week. Great inventor for this week. Next, we'll have Chief Alligator with this week's Dr. Woodson quote.
So you needed the date, Chief Alligator, October 18th, 1870.
And four, you're gonna share your screen, Chief Biko, for the quote.
Gotcha. Where's it? Oh, perfect.
I'll do number two. Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote for today will be number two. Negroes, however, sometimes choose their own leaders, but unfortunately they are too often of the wrong kind. Negroes do not readily follow persons with constructive programs. Almost any sort of exciting appeal or trivial matter presented to them may receive immediate attention and temporarily at least liberal support. When the bubble collapses, of course, these same followers will begin to decry Negro leadership and call these misrepresentatives of the group rascals and scoundrels. So I chose that one, tying back into the open video that we're going to continue to show as we go into this election season. The European has already openly declared to the world that the militia has infiltrated all sectors of government. And not only is that not on our radar or our number one, that should be gaining our number one attention, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. So that went right over our head, that you're infiltrated. Secondly, the video that came out this week with the no vote, no fuck, and you got a gay male, and then you got an entertainer. Well, both are entertainers, but you got two entertainers talking politics. So it just rhymes with everything that he put, or everything that's in this second quote, how we won't do anything that requires organization and actual planning. It's unfortunate to be a part of this group and say that, but yeah, we're not going to do anything that requires structure. But no voting, no fucking, and it's a rap video with artists talking politics, that will go viral amongst our group of people. So the bubble is going to collapse, and we're going to turn around and we'll be looking back after this election, and we'll start complaining again. We need to get ahead of it and look at the back row on that chessboard, which is the Black Congressional Caucus. Got to start asking, where are these Negroes at? You coming up on an election and they've got no plan for this group. Anything y'all want to share on that?
I mean, just to piggyback off of what you're saying about the new campaign for getting people to the polls, again, it never fails that they put entertainers and just putting the message out there, that not telling you why to vote, who has our best interest. It's just entertaining with a grown man telling you to vote or you don't get no booty, or whatever the words are that he used. And I just think that it's comical, but it's sad at the same time, that the bar is set so low and people still fall for it. So it's my thoughts.
Definitely have to agree with both of y'all. Like you said, just voting, just to vote, pretty much, just, get to the polls, no direction, no agenda, no plan. Just, show up at least, then you'll be able to at least fuck somebody. Like, just silliness. And, hearing these, highly schooled and educated people on Roland Martin's show, for instance, try to pretty much, explain away what was going on in the video, and try to, make it seem like it's okay. Like, yeah, we just need people to go to the votes. It's like, okay, it's totally backwards. It makes no sense. And who they're trying to appeal to would be pretty much somebody like my age or younger. That shit isn't appealing to me. Anybody that I've spoken with, it's the same thing. So it's like, okay, one, you guys really don't even understand what's going on for this group. And then the people that you're trying to target, you're totally missing the target. So yeah, it's just another example of, just our group really being looked at as the nigger. And it's just crazy how it's like, just, people trying to make excuses for what's actually going on. Let me see. With that, I'll continue with this week's legal definitions as well as maroon historical points. Number 1, American, indigenous to America. Number 2, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. 4, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. Number 6, education, an enlightening experience. And number 7, recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength, the action or process of regaining possession of something stolen or lost. And lastly, the maroon historical points. Number 1 was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Number 3, Maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. Number 5, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defenses, and plans. And that is, or those are our maroon historical points. All right. And today, starting off, we're going to jump into the preamble of the Constitution of the state of Georgia. Now, each state has their own constitution, but we're going to use Georgia, for example, in this one, just to continue to reiterate pretty much what we went over last week and showing the maps, as well as what we've been showing pretty much the last 4 or 5 weeks with the militia video, just showing how the system's infiltrated, but we're also showing, the groundwork. Georgia, 1777, believe this was, yes, this Constitution, 1777. So we'll go ahead and have Chief Quietwater read this preamble here. And let me know if I need to blow this up for you. Let me see if I can.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Okay, that's
Good.
cool.
All right.
Okay. So let's see here. Whereas the conduct of the legislature of Great Britain for many years past has been, oh goodness. Let me see here, because what is this word?
Just a note.
Let me start over.
The F's and S's. When you see an F, it's actually a S.
Okay.
So that's
got you.
oppressive. That's oppressive.
Got you. Okay. Whereas the conduct of the legislature of Great Britain for many years past have been so oppressive on the people of America that of late years they have plainly declared and asserted a right to raise taxes upon the people of America and to make laws to bind them in all cafes, in all cases, whatsoever, without their consent. Okay. Which conduct being repugnant to the common rights of mankind hath obligated the Americans as freemen to oppose such oppressive measures and to assert the rights and privileges they are entitled to by the laws of nature and reason, and accordingly hath been done by the general consent of all people of the states of New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the counties of Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex, on Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, given by their representatives met together in General Congress in the city of Philadelphia. You want me to stop there or keep going?
There's a lot right there. We can build on that first paragraph and then keep going.
Okay. I'm gonna have to kind of read through it again. If you have anything to say, I do need to kind of go over it again.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll jump in. That first paragraph, that first sentence where it says, whereas the conduct of the legislator of Great Britain for many years past has been too oppressive on the people of America. So we can see they're claiming to be American, but there's a principle that we as a group of people need to take from this. They're declaring their independence from the people that sent them over here, which is Great Britain. So as the American Negro, if I'm gonna use that term, we can see that this has nothing to do with us. This is them separating from their lineage. But let's look at why they separated. That of late years, they have plainly declared and asserted a right to raise taxes upon the people of America and to make laws to bind them in all cases whatsoever. Ain't that where we at as a group of people today in 2022? Inflation is going up, taxes are being raised, and who's the most incarcerated group of people under this government? So we really need to look at if they can stand up, if the peasants and pilgrims can stand up against their kings that sent them over here and basically operate themselves, what's stopping us? We have the exact same right that these people had when they declared their independence. I'll stop right there and let somebody else jump in.
No, I agree. Same thing. Like you said, they took a stand and made their way through and over it. So I think that it's clear that it can be done. We've proven over and over that it doesn't take a lot to come together and make changes for the collective group.
No, I definitely agree with that. That next line or the next sentence basically, or next word, next few words, without their consent, kind of ties into what we're heading into this last fiscal quarter with the voting. We're giving consent when we do vote versus them originally just having these things levied on them without their consent. So that was kind of, you can see the similarities, but also how they switched it. Okay, we'll allow them to participate in the system and we'll use their vote as their consent to continue to have these things leveled on them. So that was pretty interesting to me. And also here, going back to kind of the Freedmen's Bureau, have obliged the Americans as freemen. So again, as you stated there earlier, Chief Alligator, they're not talking about the American Negro, if we're going to use that term. They're talking about the Europeans sent over here from Great Britain who are classifying themselves as the American and thus as freemen. So again, this kind of ties into that as well. And that kind of stood out to me just within this first paragraph.
Great point out, and great way that we can tie documents together and further prove who the freeman was. Absolutely. My question to everybody that's viewing this video or that may watch this video, what is our excuse as a group of people when we can clearly see what the peasant eventually did? They challenged their king and they put it in writing. What's stopping us from standing up and doing the exact same thing? We have the same gripe that these peasants had when they were exiled from Europe and sent over here to die. They didn't know that them people were going to organize and survive and then come back and fight the same people that, you know what I'm saying? They sent them across the Atlantic thinking good riddance, like we'll never have to deal with you again.
Yeah.
And so here we are as a group of people. We've been conquered through undeclared wars for over 400 years. And so the last thing that they're thinking about since the 1960s, after they killed everybody that was trying to organize us the last time, is this is it. We got them now. We're going to bring them into this burning house. We're going to make them think that they're a part of this. And it's a sophisticated version of prisoner of war. That is a radical statement politically to declare a group of people prisoner of war. But we're showing you based on documents, that's what it is. It's not racism. You are a prisoner of war. You don't have to have chains on you physically as if you're in prison. But look at all the gripes that our people have. And I'm going to ask y'all a question before we get to that next paragraph. Put something in the chat that is wrong with us as a group of people. I'm going to say racism as a starter. What would you say, Chief Quietwater, that's our group of people consistently complain about under this government that happens?
Racism. Yeah. I would say that's kind of the main one, because everything, white supremacy, I guess, would that be under the same thing?
Okay. What would you say, Chief Biko?
I would say complain about unfair wages. Definitely that.
All right, so I'll throw another one in. If you're saying unfair wages, I will say redlining. Right? Give us another one, Chief Quietwater.
Redlining. What else? Gosh.
We just talking about history?
Huh?
Are we just talking about like through history, or just like what's kind of like
what everybody's complaining about today? When you turn on the news, what are people complaining about when it comes?
Oh, police killings.
There you go. Okay. All right. Police killings of unarmed men. All right. What's another one, Chief Biko?
School to prison pipeline.
Okay.
It's gonna be one for a minute.
We can
Yeah.
stop right there. Only reason I'm doing this is whoever watches this video, we've all heard of these things. We've all heard of rape on a daily basis with our group of people is racism, white supremacy, unfair wages, redlining, police killing of unarmed men, school to prison pipeline. All of that is because we're prisoners of war. We got all the symptoms there that a prisoner of war group would have. We did everything that we complain about from this government, but we don't want to deal with the reality that that's what it is. I'll stop right there. I just wanted to, like you said, racism is under that umbrella. Prisoner of war, all of that falls up under that. Everything we complain about on a day-to-day basis, that's just one symptom of being a prisoner of war.
And just, just reading this, and like you said, how they stood up against their leaders to make them do right, basically is what they did, to make them do what they were supposed to do to represent them and to assist them with getting what they wanted and what they requested. And with us, like you said, we just complain about it. We complain about it with absolutely no action, and we are distracted to so much of a higher level that we're just so far from the reality that we are a prisoner of war.
Right. And this just highlights too, Dr. Boyce Watkins made a post with Dr. Claude Anderson talking about, making a political party. And we're just, putting these two documents and what he's saying on the scale. They're not talking about creating a political party. They're talking about creating their own government, their own system. Why would I create a party within your system if it's going to do the same thing? I'm going to separate myself and create my own, and that way we are going to benefit from it versus, we're going to pool everything together, and now we're going to still vote within that same system, but now it's just more of us. No, the end result, the output is going to be the same. So just kind of comparing those two, it's like, nah, we're going to separate ourselves. We're going to call you out on, your bull, and then we're going to break away. And that's just going to be that. And we have to have that same mindset.
I definitely agree.
Did you want to continue or someone else?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you go? Is it too far up? Okay, I see here. Okay. And whereas it has been recommended by the said Congress on the 15th of May last to the respective assemblies and conventions of the United States, where no government sufficient to the exigencies of their affairs has been hitherto established to adopt such government as may, and the opinion of the representatives of the people best conduced to the happiness and safety of their constituents in particular, and the American in general. I'll keep going.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, this ties into what Chief Biko had just said, and we've been beaten down to such a minority state as a group of people that we can't see. In that paragraph you just read, they're basically saying we're going to take care of our own. We're going to stand up, we're going to assemble, we're going to have our own conventions, and we're going to create our own company, the United States, and we're going to operate under that. Like Chief Biko just recently said, creating a party, as Dr. Claude Anderson is talking about, under this government that when it was established, it didn't have you in mind. That's not going to get it. No, you're going to have to stand all the way up, and you're going to have to build your own from scratch in order for you to be properly represented on the world platform. That there is no, we have to do that hard work of recreating our own.
Okay. And whereas the independence of the United States of America has been also declared on the 4th day of July, 1,777 by the said honorable Congress and all political connection between them and the Crown of Great Britain is in consequence thereof dissolved. And so there, what are they saying? Basically the 4th of July, what are they saying there?
Yeah, what you just read. Yeah, they're dissolving our relation with Great Britain, which is what we would have to do with the United States government.
With the United States.
When we stand up, we would have to say the same thing. We're dissolving any kind of
Oh, okay.
right. And see, we don't want to do that.
Right.
So it's like we're in an abusive relation. Like Chief Biko said this a couple of weeks ago. It is an abusive relationship.
Right.
Because we'll get killed on a weekly basis, no weapons, nothing. And then we'll want to push that in the back of our mind and keep going along within this thing. We'll get discriminated on at the bank, the kids miseducated in school, the prison system overflowing with our people, and we'll just keep pushing this stuff in the back of our mind.
Keep taking the leftovers and the crumbs that they're giving us, and we become dependent on the government and dependent on whatever it is that they give us, we'll take, and we just make the best of it. Even though it doesn't help us, it doesn't make us grow. It's setting us further and further and further the more that we continue to just take what they give us, basically.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said too there, Chief Alligator, when you're saying like abusive relationship, but also just showing, kind of said it last week, except in this case, they're talking about their actual parents. And they actually moved out of the house and said, we're going to set up our own rules. When I gave the example last week, I said our foster parents, because like you stated earlier, none of this shit has to do with we're going to use the term American Negro, Black, African American. None of this shit has to do with us. So we're taking beatings from somebody who isn't even a part of our blood, our bloodline. And we're still comfortable with taking those ass whoopings versus getting your ass your own shit, your own house, setting up your own rules, how you want to live. You'll rather say, I'm gonna be, in the basement. I don't know why mom keep telling me to go to bed at 12. I'm a grown man. If you're a grown man, act like a man. If you're a grown woman, act like a woman and establish your own stuff. Why are you still underneath this roof complaining? They didn't do that. And those are their parents. So why it's so hard for you to get that in your mind and do the same thing?
Man, that's a powerful statement. I'm going to say fear. As a group of people, we are afraid to stand up.
Facts.
We are afraid to actually tell these people. This is a document that they wrote. That means they had to put it on a boat and send that shit back to them kings and queens in England. They are afraid to say, this is what time it is. This is where I'm at. And great point. Great point. Adults are going to carry themselves as adults. Right now, as a group of people, we're whining.
Hence the term minority. You acting like minors.
Right.
Let me see here. Where do we leave off? And whereas, or I think we finished
the one under that.
Okay. I think this would be the last one.
Okay. We therefore, the representatives of the people from whom all power originates and for whole benefits of all government is intended by virtue of the power delegated to us, do ordain and declare, and is hereby ordained and declared that the following rules and regulations be adopted for the future government of this state. So basically they just put their stamp on it.
Yeah.
Ain't no questions after that. This is what we're gonna do. And by virtue of the power delegated to us, meaning that we do have the power to do the same exact thing.
Yeah. We ain't asking for nobody. We say off like you said over that boat, and whatever happens, happens. But the message is clear. You put on notice. You've been put on notice.
Wow.
Now, does it show a little bit of the sickness that we have? Because nowhere in that document, or if I'm wrong, correct me, are we a part of this document? When they set up the estate of Georgia, so when the king in England set it up, it was a colony. The These Europeans said, okay, it's no longer going to be a colony. We're going to create an estate, which is a trust. And further in this constitution, we can show people that these states are estates, they're trust. So the people who are part of this preamble, these are here we go back to we the people of the United States government. It's the same thing at the estate level or the state level. The people who are part of the preamble are the trustees. If you understand that this is a trust, the people that are quote unquote elected officials that the citizens are going to vote to manage their affairs, those are the trustees. What's stopping us from establishing our own estates? Or in our case, it would be confederacies to go back in alignment with what we had before they set up their colonies and then states. We had confederacies or tribes. What's stopping us from doing that?
I think, like you answered it earlier, straight fear. Not willing to just be adults and hell, just put folks on notice. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. I put a comment in underneath that Dr. Boy's post, like, he's saying, we need to create our own political party. I said, better idea, let's create our own government. First comment, ridiculous. Second comment, you trying to overthrow the government.
Wow.
Interesting. Just, just the mindset of people. It's just, they don't have that ownership mentality. They don't have that, they don't really want what they say they want. They still want to be handed things. They don't want to actually, dig deep and work for it.
And I also think too, again, it goes back to not knowing that we actually do have the power and not knowing that these people actually do work for us. I think that's one of the biggest things that does keep us behind, because it's the lack of knowledge of how all of this works, because we were indoctrinated and told this great lie of how things have happened and how things are supposed to be. But I think it's the lack of knowledge as well.
Let me ask something, Chief Quietwater, on that statement. Do you think that we can get these people to work for us under this current government, or how do you see it as the feminine energy? How do you see it?
I just think that it has to be more people on the same page. You can't have this group that's asking for this group that's asking for that, and we're all over the place. There's just not one common goal. So I don't think that it's impossible, but I just think that the level of consciousness just need to be a little bit higher in order for us to actually get on that same page. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but more of us have to be on the same page in order for anything to change. I just feel like everyone like Chief Biko just said, everyone wants these things, but don't know how or stay focused enough to move forward to achieve these things.
And the only reason I'm asking that because we can look at it like a parent-child situation in a sense. So that's why, like, the feminine energy input, because the mother is the nurturer, right? So if we got a group of people that's saying we want reparations, we want this, we want that, we want this, you're saying, pick one thing at a time that's the most important to you. For me, I'm going to say our own shit. I'm going to say defund the police is a symptom of the problem. Once you defund the police, you still got to deal with redlining and all the stuff.
Right.
So I'm setting the bar at the ground floor where the foundation can be built correctly, separate.
Correct.
But is that too big of a project for us to really stomach? That these peasants, whatever was happening to them in 1700s, they came together with the backing of the everyday person, because they can't do this preamble without the everyday person in the estate of Georgia saying, yeah, if a foreigner comes over here, we're willing to fight for what you guys are going to put in writing. are we willing to even stand up to that point?
Right now in the current state, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, just based off.
And I don't know what it will take for us to. I mean, what will it take? We've had some tragic things happen to us as a group, and I don't know. I don't want to say, oh gosh, I don't have any hope. I do have some hope, but anytime soon, no, I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that means, Chief Biko, where you at?
Nah, I was just gonna say, based off the damn comments that I got, the first two, it's like, nah, that's ridiculous. All right, so you really don't want this so-called freedom or these things. Like I'm in alignment, separation, and then go from there. Of course, it's gonna be growing pains. And I guess people, we don't have that mindset of, and I keep going back to like a business, we don't have that mindset of actually running our own business. So we don't see the struggle or the how much work it takes to make that business successful, let alone just become tangible. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have that mindset of, okay, I'm just going to, get a job and I let them handle whatever as long as I'm getting my paycheck, versus, okay, nah, I'm gonna build something, and then that way I, can solidify myself. Nah, this is mine. Everything after it is because I did it, versus, you just going to work, being an employee, getting your check and not having to really worry about anything. Like, I think we still want to have that coasting in life versus, and which won't get you nowhere because nothing grows if you're just comfortable. So I think we're kind of comfortable in what we're doing. We're okay. We'll, get a few killings here and there of our people. We'll take a few, silly ass voting memes and things of that nature. We'll take these distractions just as long as, you're not asking us to do too much, because that's not in my job description, basically. I just want to be chilling, entertain myself here and there, and I'm fine with that way of life versus something greater. So it's really, they got us in a chokehold with that.
Let me tie something in what you just said, because you mentioned unfair wages. So let's look at our group of people and let's look at it from the European side.
Mm-hmm.
They put the work in to create their own government, but they've got a group of people saying we want more.
Mm-hmm.
So the European can easily look at us and say, do more.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You want more, but you ain't doing more. So
Right.
Here we are as a group of people saying we want reparations. The European has already told us in 2019, we can't give it to a color. So basically, niggas, y'all gonna have to organize and create some type of government that we can communicate with. But we ain't finna give you shit until you do. So
Correct.
that's where we are. You cannot ask for more and you're not bringing more to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get on the world stage first, which means assemble, organize, and then you can come as such and such confederacy and say, okay, United States government, you've waged unlawful war from this period to that period, stole these inventions, this, that, and the third. You follow me?
Yep.
Then other nations around the world will start to assist. Everybody likes the man or the woman that fights for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Everybody like the underdog. Yeah, they put it in movies all the time. So it's like, okay.
So I got hope in us. I'm gonna say it's inevitable. We have to stand up and create our own shit, because at this point, yeah, they're looking at us like, look at these. You kind of understand why they say nigger, because when they read this document, this empowers them because they people came over here with nothing. And when they read these documents, these are their forefathers saying no to the king in England. No, we're going to create our own shit and we're going to do our own trade, our own commerce. There's nothing stopping us from doing the exact same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
No, that was a good one. That was a good read and build to, kind of flow into the next one. If we want to go into the free, I believe it says free, yeah, as concerning free persons of color. Let me see here. Load this up. Let me see if I can make this out.
Can you see it, Chief Whitewater?
Hold on, what's that? I ain't got this first one.
I can,
Or I
Is
can
it
give it a shot.
huh?
I can give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so this document right here, the free persons of color, the guardians, and colored
Preachers.
preachers. Okay, so here again, we're talking about being underclass under their government. So now they're going to tell you, yeah, you don't get the same thing that we get. We actually built the shit. You want to be a part of it? We're going to create separate rules for y'all. That's basically what this free persons of color document is. Section 1, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the state of Georgia in general, a family meet, and it is here. Well, I don't know what that,
Yeah, I can't even tell.
Let's say assembly meet, and it is hereby enacted by the authority of the same that each and every guardian of a free person of color shall on or before the first day of May in each year make a return in the clerk's office of the Superior Court of the county in which he live, stating the name of such for person of free person of color, the date of his letters of guardianship, the occupation of his ward, and shall specify the means by which he obtained his or her freedom, and such return shall be sworn to by such guardian. So this is going exactly what we just talked about in the Constitution. Because you want to be a part of something that your people did not create, every year, bring your ass down to the Superior Court in the county you live in, and you're going to have to tell us who gave you your freedom, boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this ties into Jim Crow laws that we hear about in the South. It makes sense why there would be Jim Crow laws, because you want to be something. You want to be owner in IBM, or you want to be management in IBM, but you ain't put the work in. Anything y'all want to share on that section 1 right there?
For me, it just highlights that minority status. Again, sworn into that who pretty much handed you your freedom. And then that last part, to by such guardian. So if you have a guardian, meaning that, you have to have somebody look after you or look after your or account for you. Guardian, custodian, trustee, pretty much all the same terms in regards to if somebody's handling or doing business for you or handling whatever needs to come to you. So it makes sense that, this is our group of people, because still we're asking the guardian, which would be, these the Senate, House of Representatives, can y'all break bread with us? And they're like, nah, y'all ain't even, really contributing to nothing. So we definitely not gonna break you off any of these, fiat coupons we got. We'll just give those to some folks that's gonna, actually put in some work. So yeah, let's go ahead and allow these other groups of people, these immigrants, because hell, if we're gonna break bread, we might as well get some type of use out of them. So it kind of just highlights that for me.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. It's like we continuously try to just insert ourselves in situations and boxes where we get in that box, and then we just try to figure out where we actually really belong instead of creating our own our own things and ways of life, like we did when we made all the inventions and things of that nature. So I agree with you too.
All right, I'll see if I can get section 2 in real quick. And it be further enacted that each guardian failing to make such return shall be liable to a facility, you got to scroll up a little bit so I can keep reading. Shall be liable to a,
not sure what this is.
something not exceeding $1,000 for each such failure to be levied from his or her goods and chattels, lands and lieutenants, if there shall be insufficient or on the goods, chattel, lands and lieutenants of the land, or blank of such guardian as he shall have failed to make a return of as required in the first section of this act. So whoever the guardian is over that person of color, if you do not correspond with the Superior Court on a yearly basis, you're going to get $1,000 fine, and they're going to tax you for the land and anything else that you have. So this is just further emphasizing to me, you're not going to be able to navigate within this system and expect, you're not going to get what it is that you're rightfully owed until you stand up and create your own, because you're going to come up under those subordinate terms, whether it be a person of color, minority,
Black.
Well, I'm thinking legal terms now, because ward, right? We're going to come up under some type of entity that has to be managed over, right? Because this fine is to the guardian of the person of color. So this person of color doesn't know enough about commerce and how to govern themselves accordingly to go to the courthouse themselves. No, his guardian has to go down there and report on him. So this is like you're a minor. Going back to your parent analogy or your foster parent analogy, Chief Biko, where somebody else has to pretty much tell you what to do or keep you in line. You can't manage yourself.
Yeah, can't make decisions for yourself.
Y'all thoughts on that?
Well, sound about right. I mean, sound exactly what our people are, going through today. Exactly what is, happening today.
It's the same thing. And like you said, just from everything that we've read up to this point, it all just kind of ties in together. Document after document, we read pretty much the same narrative. I agree.
All right, let me see. Okay, so providing that the blank thus neglecting to make such return to the clerk of the Superior Court may relieve himself of such fine by a satisfactory showing to the Superior Court of the county in which such neglect shall take place, that such neglect was by accident or omission and not with intention to evade said law, and who shall then make his return. So what we're understanding here when we're talking about the state of Georgia, this is before the corporate state was created. The corporate state didn't exist. The state of Georgia did not exist until the 1950s and 60s. Prior to that, you went to the Superior Courthouse to handle all your affairs. That's why you see this document pointing you back to the Superior Clerk of Court. And if you've ever lived in Georgia, you understand that most of your stuff does come through the court. Most of your records are held with the clerk of said Superior Courthouse. Only if you want to get, I'm just throwing this out there, if you want to get an LLC, a S Corp, or a C Corp, You would have to go to now the corporate fictional state of Georgia, but the state of Georgia does not really exist. It's a corporate fiction. If you really want to do business within that state, you can do most of it at the court level, at the superior court level. Before there was LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps, there was DBAs, doing business as, right? Those get registered in Georgia at the superior courthouse. So what we're seeing is the ground floor of how they set this system up. But it went into debt and it went bankrupt, and then they created this corporate fiction of a state of Georgia. Anything y'all want to share on that?
No, I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Section B, and be it further enacted that it shall not be lawful for any person to give credit to any free person of color, but on a written order of the guardian. Here we go.
Wow.
We've been talking about this, like Chief Quietwater just said, the documents line up. You wonder why you're getting redlined or why you couldn't live in certain communities. You're not going to get equal representation or equal playing field without creating your own. You're trying to be something under another group of people's government, and so they're going to write it. Yeah, don't give them niggas credit. You give the credit to somebody who's the guardian.
Oversee it, right?
So who would the guardian be in today's terms with banking? The underwriter, right? Yeah, he's not gonna give it to you. You're calling it racism, but he's looking at you historically the way you are. You're a person of color to him. This ain't your shit. Let me stop. Y'all want to say anything on that? We're reading Section B on this thing. It's clearly telling you niggas complaining in 2022 about redlining. They got it in their law.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't give niggas credit.
And it still lies today. I mean, in real estate and many different factors of business, it still happens. Just because you are a person of color, you are not going to get what others get in regards to, even if you qualify, they're going to find some kind of loophole or some reason not to fully approve you for what your counterpart would get.
Absolutely.
Chief Biko, your thoughts on that?
Shoot, I agree with what Chief Quietwater stated. Shoot, as well as what you stated earlier. Just basically, we established this whole system. So why would we give you any credit if you're trying to be a part of our system?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anything that you do come up with underneath our system belongs to the people that created this system. Just like if you go to work for, like you said, IBM, okay, you want to be a manager, you created this technology or this new tool underneath IBM, you're not going to get credit. IBM is getting that credit. You work for me. You see what I'm saying? So anything that does come up underneath this system that you have created, nah, we appreciate you being a great employee. We appreciate you being a great miner, but the guardian controls this. This is ours, not yours. So it's the same thing in regards to this. And while our people still want to come up underneath this, it makes no sense to me. And it clearly
No
shows
sense at all.
exactly what it is.
Well, Chief Quietwater, you said it, that we don't know. You think we don't know this information. So it goes back to the abusive relationship. We're pointing to in writing where it's,
right.
and it gets worse. The more you read this, the more you understand these black codes, it gets worse. So it's like, why would you still want to be a part of that?
Right, exactly.
So now that now the viewer, now that you know this stuff, it's in writing. We've been hitting y'all across the head with it for over a year now. Now that you see this stuff and you understand it, now when you continue to put your faith in this system, continue to run to these voting polls, you're making a conscious choice to continue to be abused and continue to have no representation, continue to get no credit for anything that you create, and you're fine with it. So don't complain when it continues to happen, because like we read in that Georgia Constitution, they didn't even, that was without their consent. So when you're voting, you're giving them your consent.
Right.
You continue to have this stuff go on. So don't complain for something that you're willingly voting for by continuing to vote in this system.
Yeah, so that next
Absolutely.
section will start off next week, but this next section even talks about debt. How, yeah, everything goes back to the guardian. Like that person of color, yeah, he can't stand up, or she can't stand up and manage her own affairs. Everything in here is, that's why they talked to our grandparents and called, well, some of our grandparents didn't give a fuck, but that's why they would call you boy or gal and you 60 years old, because the European understood from a lawful standpoint, you can't do a damn thing. Yeah, you can't go down to that courthouse and do nothing, boy.
Saying you a minor. Saying you a minor.
Right.
Nah, great point. Great point.
Wow.
We will stop on section 4.
Yeah, we'll stop there.
No, that was a great build. And again, if any of this stuff is far-fetched for you as far as the viewer, comment below. Let us know where we wrong. Point us in the direction of, you know, some information that goes against what we've been saying. Because as Chief Quietwater stated earlier, everything we've been saying is lining up. All of the documents are lining up with exactly what we've been saying. So,
And let's make this type of information viral. Like, let's make this go viral so that it will awake the masses of people who want to jump on the bandwagon of what's hot and what's new and what's trendy for a short period of time.
Yeah, don't worry about what Kanye got on the back of his shirt. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Let's worry about some stuff that's really going to affect you. Like,
has been affecting you,
and
continues to affect you.
Your mama, your grandma, your great grandma, and affecting you since these people came to this land. Like, let's make this go viral, like you said, versus some other bull crap that they'll wash away when something else happens. Like, nah, let's focus. Like you said, let's focus on a task at hand.
Right.
Stop being so easily distracted. Like a group full of people with ADHD or something. Like, come on, let's stay on task.
I'll share this quick secret on what Chief Quietwater just shared and what you're sharing, Chief Biko. Something has to happen at the individual level first, where you say, nah, you got me fucked up. That's the only reason that's gonna have to catapult you into understanding, how can I prevent this from happening again? You know what I'm saying? For me, it was being discriminated on and being laid off, you know what I'm saying, over like 15, 16 years ago. I just had a European just, you know, after performing or overperforming, you feel me, being the only most qualified person at that position. And they were going to promote somebody who was underqualified. And the fact that I didn't want to go along with that, and that person was able to just cut my livelihood off, something clicked in my head that day. And I just told myself, I'll never let another person on planet Earth disrespect me. And so that means, going back to what Chief Quietwater and Chief Biko said, we have to study to show ourselves approved. You tired of getting unarmed people killed? You got to dig into their playbook and then beat them at their own intellectual game. But that's only after pain.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to have to trigger it for us to just be like, let's stop the bullshit. None of your entertainment means anything. It's time to get in the lab and let's figure out what the fuck are you doing for you to be able to, at this point, kill me on video. But that was the catapult for me. Watching a bunch of rednecks out of Tennessee who couldn't tie my shoestrings. I forgot more than they know. And I watched these motherfuckers cut my livelihood off. And I said to myself, I said, this will never happen again in my life. Well, I have a bunch of yeehaws that can't do 1/4 of what I'm capable of doing, but you got the power to put me in the unemployment line. I said, nah, that became a part of my why. Whatever it is I got to do, I'm going to do it. Because what I'm not going to do on this and for the remainder of my life is let another European think that he's better than me. You got me fucked up. I can do anything you do better, given the equal opportunity, physically, mentally. We can fight it out, shoot it out. It don't matter to me. I give zero fucks how you want to do it. No, but you got to get to that point. I'm saying you got to get to that point in life. Let a motherfucker, you ain't the only motherfucker that can shoot.
Yeah.
You ain't the only. What the fuck y'all think y'all got going on? But that's a mindset.
Yeah, it's a mindset thing.
That mindset, like it's whatever. Wherever you want to go, we can go.
What my boy Funny Marco said, it's a mindset. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah, these motherfuckers got us fucked all the way up, man. I'm just waiting on y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like these motherfuckers act like they the only ones that got these shits.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep this shit with me every day. Or the bullshit.
Yeah. Got to. Shoot.
You gonna close on that or what?
No, I got to shit. That's drop the mic. You done drop the mic, drop the clip, drop the damn header. We done dropped every damn thing. We good to go. Shoot. We good to go.
Oh my gosh.
Enough is enough, man. What the fuck?
That's the viral moment right there.
Right. That's what y'all like.
You got it right there. I want the entertainment. All right. Y'all love showing sticks. Shoot.
Oh my God.